Since it is a new year, I thought we should just take a look at inventory to mark the occasion and see where we are and how we ended the year. So we ended the year very strong, actually. It is amazing, as I always say, how incredibly resilient the real estate asset is, with the cost of money literally tripling, and now we see that coming down. We saw housing affordability during the last year reach its lowest point in 4 decades, but it is improving. We see mortgage rates coming down already and affordability increasing, and the Fed's promise to increase affordability even more this year. Now, the interesting thing is, I say increasing affordability, but I need to bite my tongue when I say that. Why? Because, of course, if you lower the cost of money, you lower the cost of mortgages in a low inventory housing market, that is a recipe for what? Well, it's a recipe for price increases. And that's probably what we're looking at, probably fairly significant. We'll see what happens with the broader economy. Will we finally go into that recession the Fed has been trying to push us into unsuccessfully? This economy just is like the little engine that could, right? It just keeps on going, keeps on going. It is amazing the power of people wanting to go out and chase their dreams. As I have said for quite a while now, what the gloomers and the doomers don't realize, and why they're mostly wrong, 98%, 99% of the time, they're just wrong. What they don't realize is that every morning, 8 billion people wake up and they think one dominant thought: how can I improve my situation? And by improving their situation, they stimulate the economy and they make the machine work. So inventory, well, we are still about 700,000 homes below normal. Inventory is extremely constricted, and we have 700,000 fewer homes than we should have to be at a normal market. We ended the year with 513,000 homes for sale, just 513,000. And comparing that to prior years, we look at 2019 here, we were at about 850,000. Depending on what time of the year, we were at almost 1 million. Back in 2015, we had well over 1 million homes, about 1.2 million homes for sale. And now we only have 513,000 homes for sale. But looking at a couple of charts from just maybe about a month ago or so, these are pretty telling, and I think they're very interesting. This is the weekly inventory changes. So we have 52 weeks in a year. And as we kind of looked at that from, the last quarter of last year, we see that inventory was down 10.3% on a year-over-year basis, but get this, down a staggering, a whopping, an unbelievable 49.3% from the pre-pandemic era in 2019. So inventory last year, when inventory was actually slightly higher than it is now, was still off by 50% from 2019, and by a lot more than that from 2018, 2017, and of course 2015. So inventory tightly constricted in a market where we are lowering the cost of mortgages. What do you think's going to happen? This is simple supply and demand, the most fundamental law of economics, folks. That's all it is. This is not rocket science. It's just supply and demand. Okay, so join us for our upcoming cruise. Go to empoweredinvestorlive.com. Get your tickets for our upcoming cruise. We're really looking forward to that. And we are going to have last call on that pretty soon, because we've got to make some big deposits to Celebrity Cruises for those rooms. So last call is coming up I don't know the exact date because I got to check with our travel agent, our cruise planner on that. But as soon as I talk with her about it, I will know that last call date, but it is right around the corner. So if you want to be included on this, you want to go on a vacation that is a learning vacation, a networking vacation. And I'm not a tax advisor, but I think it's a tax deductible vacation too, at least part of it. So check with the appropriate professional for that. A 5-day cruise on the beautiful brand new Celebrity Apex. This is in a gorgeous Edge class ship. When I was in Europe last year, I went on the Celebrity Edge, and wow, absolutely my favorite cruise ship ever. I've been on about 20 cruises. I've been on really high-end cruises like Crystal Cruises, and this is better. Okay, so sometimes, paying more money does not necessarily get you more. I liked this one a lot better. Really going to be awesome. So join us for that. Now, a couple other charts before we get to our guest today. And this is from just maybe, about 2 months ago, but it's really telling. And I showed you this one before. But again, here, when we had 535,000 homes for sale, again, now we only have 513,000. And the question is always compared to what, right? And that's compared to, what is it compared to? Well, let's compare it not just to prior years, but let's compare it to the overall housing stock. That's about 140 million units in the United States, 140 million. And right now, only just a minuscule 513,000 of those homes is for sale because people are locked in. They don't want to sell their homes because they've got such a good deal and they've got 28 years left on that incredibly good deal. So they're unlikely to part with those. Now, some of those will peel off because as the delta gets smaller, that delta shrinks between existing mortgage rates and the incredible deal they got of the super low rates during the COVID era, right? As that delta shrinks and that gap narrows, some of those people will trade. But remember, how that'll increase inventory, but we have demand that will obviously increase as well. And like I said before, maybe last week, I think I said this, I've got some incredible data on shadow demand coming up. So look for that on a future episode. You're going to love this. It really just shows you how the demographics coming at the housing market are just undeniable, that this is and will continue to be the most historically proven asset class in world history. And remember, it's multidimensional, so it's not just dependent on prices going up or down. That's such myopic thinking, but I talk about it a lot because that's what everybody talks about. I don't want to talk about that, honestly. I'd rather talk about all the multidimensional ways you earn return on your real estate investment. There are so many ways you get returns on this beautiful, wonderful asset class. And at this time, when I published this chart, inventory was moving a little bit higher. But as you can see, we finished the year with inventory much lower than this at only 513,000 homes. So here was one where we were 508,000 homes. And again, just slightly higher than that ending the year. So, you just can't deny the data, folks, regardless of what all of the Chicken Littles are saying. The sky is just not likely to fall, barring some black swan event. War, famine, another crazy kind of economic collapse that comes out of the pandemic, whatever it might be. But, the simple supply and demand numbers, the hard data shows a really, really strong case for income property continuing to be the most historically proven asset class in the entire world. And of course, the most tax-favored asset class in the United States. Remember, go to Empowered Investor Live and get your cruise tickets right away so you can join us. 2 days of education on the high seas and 3 days of pure vacation time on a beautiful, wonderful cruise together.